figure it out. So I'm going to be mixing stuff that's high in calories with stuff that's not, to try and just maintain. Like, we're going to get to the point where we're gaining weight. Alright. Oh, we were here to grab things. I grabbed the food. I need water. We actually really need water. Okay. Oh yeah, so this is my main base. It's a nice little lovely place. Oh, we took all the water bottles out of here. That's fair. Alright, so get the regular bottle, get it out of here. Put my spare in my backpack. And the reason I do that is we'll automatically drink from this bottle as we need water. When it runs out and I notice I get thirsty, it basically, I have this backup bottle that says, alright, we have a backup, but this means it's time to go get yourself some water. Like, go seek out water now before you're out. Yep, so we got our little place back here. And I want to grab some hunting knives. That'll be plenty. Is there anything you need to get rid of? Not really. Because we're slightly overburned, but I'm not too worried about it because we're going to shovel food in our mouth and that won't be a problem. But yeah, so if you look at this, I have a bunch of rain barrels on the roof. Those are all piped into the sink. I mean, the corner ones aren't piped anything, but all the other ones are piped into the sinks in there. Each one of those is 400 units of water. Which means if I don't get rain, I have to myself 2,000 units of water that are readily available to my sinks to drink. An extra 800 units of water that in a pinch I can boil if I have to. So that's all good. And I also have, you know, the lake right here so I can do more. This, once we get back to spring, will be a farm. Like, it was a farm before winter, but I'm not bothering to try and farm during winter. During winter, we're just pushing zombies. Oh, you can plumb multiple barrels to a sink. I was under the impression it was a one-to-one relationship. That's cool. I still think, for silly reasons, I like the idea of just... Why don't I farm more? At the moment, it's winter. It can technically grow, but I have to water it myself. And it grows much, much slower. So it's just like, okay, I'm just not going to do it during winter. I mean, honestly, right now, I just need food to gain weight. I've got plenty of produce still. Can you plumb a barrel to a barrel? I don't believe so. And I know I'm being wasteful with these chips in regards to hunger, but nutrition-wise, I'm not. As you notice, each time I'm eating chips, for the calories we burn, we're gaining more. When we get about halfway up, this down arrow on my weight will go away, which means we're maintaining weight, and I want to get to somewhat higher. What's the auto water mod do? Oh, irrigation, like make pipes for a water supply and all that? I mean, I do wish there was something built in the game where you could have a Oh, the brakes are so terrible. The brakes are so terrible. The brakes are terrible. Slam on the brakes the moment I saw them and just didn't run over him. Gave him a little nudge. Gave him a little shovey shove. Yeah, that van, like, it's in good shape other than the brakes. The brakes are horrendous. Yeah, now I do wish there was a way in the base game, when it came to farming, to effectively irrigate your plants, either using rain barrels or something like that. But yeah, to give you an idea how bad these brakes are. And stopping now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So yeah, the brakes are terrible. Yep, and that's kind of, like, that's a cool thing. Like, I do hope that's the kind of thing that they just integrate. You know, I don't mind if, like, you have to find, like, metal pipes would be one requirement. Sure, down with it. Those aren't too particularly hard to get. Maybe you need to have welding to, like, solder the pipes together kind of thing. Maybe, like, you could even go a step farther and say, okay, it's not a farming skill, it's a metalworking skill to do irrigation. Or both. Like, make it a dual skill or something. That you have to have enough metalworking and that to give metalworking more purpose. That then you run the pipes and all that. And I'm even happy if it's inefficient, like it still waters your plants so far as uses water even if they don't need it kind of thing. Like just every day it gives, let's say it's, I don't know how fast the water evaporates or whatever in the game or gets used up, but let's say it's 20 units of water a day per plant, which is probably way too high. Then sure, even if it rains, it still uses up 20 waters per day per plant that's irrigated to it. So like it's doing good and all that, but like there are some negatives to it. It's still one of those things you'd set up, you could ignore. It's just if there's no rain for a very long time, you'd be like, oh crap. And you'd have to manually feed the barrel kind of thing. Basically, by automating, you'd introduce some inefficiencies to your system, as it were. Alright, so that was enough calories that we are no longer losing weight. Now granted, I fully expect it, but by the time we're hungry, we'll probably drop back into losing weight. But then we'll eat Narsa chips, and it'll keep us at the not losing weight. But, oh, this is a different icon, isn't it? Very underweight. Yep, so we're going to continue to try and keep that calorie count up. But as the calorie count gets near the top, I'll switch to eating stuff that doesn't give me much calories, and we'll just bounce back and forth. Yeah, I can see that over time that the thing develops leaks and has to be repaired, and that there's some material you'd have to get to fix it. But that material, you know, it'd have to be something you could get someplace else. And then if you don't fix the leak, it basically just means every day it uses up that much more water without giving you any benefit for it. I'd be down with that. And again, it could be something that uses the metalworking skill because there are metal pipes in the game. So you would have a reason to do that. We just need a material that you can reasonably acquire to maintain it. Like the generators, you have the electronic salvage. Like you can get that from watches and all that, and it's not too terrible to get a hold of, but it is something you have to consciously do. And then the generator uses good 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 to fix it. Yeah, and that's exactly what I was thinking, is you'd have like, yep, a weak leak would might only maybe use up like 1 extra water a day per location that has a weak leak. A proper leak might be like 5 units a day, and then broken would be just, you know, however much. I do not know the exact effect on winter and farming. It just slows down a lot. Like, I know we had someone in here who is someone I know, like, they do a lot of testing on everything and research and actually look into the code kind of thing. And they were saying that they were able to successfully grow, I think it was a batch of cabbages during the winter that they had planted, but it took like an entire month. Whereas before, like, cabbages take something like 5 days or so to grow. I think that might be less than what it is. But they don't take long. And so it would be fine if I didn't have to water them. But because I do have to water them, it means I got to water them regularly. Okay. But either way, it took them way longer than normal to grow. Sounds like just over double. But you also don't get much in the way of rainwater during the winter, which means you manually have to water them for most of the season. So yeah. Gotcha. Thank you, Rhinothrow. Yeah, so ultimately it's one of the things where it becomes more labor intensive with way less payoff. And like, I still have 100-something potatoes in the freezer, like 50 or 70 strawberries, another like 40, 50 radishes. So I've got... stop. I need to do maintenance on my vehicles, but I really just want to keep progressing. And it's becoming problematic with some of the vehicles just being unwieldy to use because of the maintenance problems. Yeah, I could see that. I mean, like I said, at the moment, because it was, you know, I kept track of like, okay, winter's coming, and then I just planted a whole bunch of stuff, so I have a whole bunch. Like, I still have probably a month's more produce just in the freezer. Not the variety that we had before, but, you know, just flat-out produce. And then when spring comes by and we don't have the penalties, we can just plop the stuff right back down in the ground and get it growing again. Because the other issue you run into is because of how much longer it grows, it has a higher chance of just getting disease over that time, which could just give you a plant that you just have to rip up because, you know, maybe you're not high enough farming to deal with the disease, or there's certain, I think there's a single disease you just can't treat, you just gotta get rid of the plant. Like, it's fine, like, you probably can survive perfectly fine through the winter by just continuing to farm, but I don't need to. There's a lot of zombies in this area that we've already cleared, and I don't like it. I like when I clear places and they stay clear. Which, I mean, doesn't actually happen, but, you know, I want it to. I want that to be a thing. What knife do you have? Is that letter opener? If it is, it's garbage. Okay, yeah, it's just letter opener. Oh yeah, like that's kind of the thing. If I were to sit there and keep them growing, we would not be making nearly as much progress. Because basically my runs to town is I run to town until I need something like weapons or water or whatever, and then I turn around and just stop at the house one night and go right back out. If I have to water the plants, it means I have to make it a point to head back to town to water the plants and lose a good chunk of a day watering plants. Probably realistically, I lose a day watering plants because, yeah, it'd only take half a day, but I'm not going to drive halfway through the day and not even get a full day's work on pushing. I'd rather work on skills in those kind of days. Yeah, I was going to eat nothing but the food from the freezer and save the non-perishables just in case, like, I decide to skip farming, or when we move base I lose a bunch of stuff, or whatever. Well, I have over 100 potatoes still in my freezer, and we're like almost to the end of January, and I still have potatoes. So I already did that thing about planting a bunch of potatoes in prep for winter. I didn't see it. Great. What happened to my weight? So I started as obese, and then I ate salad, and then I ate salad, and then I ate salad, and I kept eating salad. And eventually we're very skinny. And I have stuff to work on that, but you know, we've been eating salad. Because my stuff to work on that is non-perishable, so I didn't want to use it. But at this point, it's like, alright, we're getting very underweight. It's time to actually force ourselves to eat something more meaningful. Because I had a whole bunch of fish at the beginning of winter, but we ate it all. And winter's kind of long, and we can't fish with any meaning during winter. So we had salad. Like, we're eating every day, it's just only now we've been starting to force ourselves to eat calorie-rich food. I'm just gonna shove more chips in our mouth until we're actually high calorie. So yeah, so now we're gaining weight. I've eaten enough, and you'll notice that's because that calorie bar is high enough. There's like, if it's below the certain amount, you're losing weight. If it's in the middle of like certain value to certain value. I will be able to catch fish again when we are out of winter. I can't remember if you can catch fish during February with a penalty or if it's at March. Like, a much less severe penalty. Because you can technically catch fish during winter, it's just the penalty is so severe you'll likely starve to death trying to catch fish. Unless you're like 7 or 8 fishing and you make sure to go at dawn and dusk when the fish have a higher chance of biting. But yeah, during the spring and summer and early fall and all that, you can survive on fish, just fish and farming. No need for anything else. You'll have plenty of calories when you need to gain weight, and you'll have plenty of produce when you need to lose weight. I mean, to be fair, I could also sit there and, you know, add oil to my salads and all that. Make them more calorie rich. I don't know, I am, and maybe it's from like the really CDDA. If I don't need something that is non-perishable, I will simply save it for if I do need it at some point. So as long as I have non-perishables, I will, or as long as I have perishables, I will always prioritize them first. But in this case, we just kept losing weight. Okay, and we're almost to the point now where I will, yeah, so this is the point I'll start eating fresh produce. And then as the calories go down, I'll eat something that's got high calories. It'll just keep kind of bouncing back and forth to just try and maintain having a general up. Because I do need to make this last until spring when I can start fishing again. At which point then to gain our weight back, we'll just shovel fish into our mouth as fast as the game will allow us. It's gonna have a hunting knife. Love to see it. Fish-wise? Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, you can. It's just the penalty is so severe, you're not going to catch like anything at all until like you're at fishing like 7 or 8, and then usually it's still really dicey. Like you'll catch almost nothing. I could be wrong, but that's what I've been told by people that I'm fairly confident in. But the point is basically, if you're not like fishing 7 or 8, you're not catching fish. And at 7 or 8, it's like you might catch fish, but you might still starve to death from it. So winter is basically do lots of prep or, you know, scavenge houses. You know, and that prep could be bulk up on all the high calorie stuff, and then just have stuff like potatoes that last a long time in your freezer. So you like go into the winter with a lot of extra padding, so to speak, knowing it's just going to melt off as you doing stuff during the winter. I mean, rotten food has reduced nutritional value, I thought, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. I usually haven't had a need to eat rotten food. Like, yeah, we're underweight, but we're safe. Like, I mean, it just means I'm tapping into my non-perishables, but we've only looted, like, one street. It's all the more of, like, housing we've looted in the entire game is just, like, the one street. Oh yeah, that's I've had. Where was it that we had? There was like, we wanted to loot the place, so I went and I busted the window in a car, and the alarm went off. I was like, oh come on. And so then I sat there and like, you know, cleared out the zombies, did all that, went through the whole hassle, and then we went to go and it's like, all right, let's check this next car. And so I bust out the window in that car, and then it also had an alarm. I'm like, all right, come on, game. I just cleaned like this. Let's see. What's the last trait on the top row called? Yes, this is Eagle Eye. Eagle Eye basically widens your cone of vision. You can't really notice it too much in the car so far as like it's not clear. But you notice like my cone of vision is almost a perfect horizontal line. I will warn anyone if you're looking at my build going, ooh, Should I do that build? No, it's a bad build. Like, whether you're new or advanced, it's just an objectively bad build. But it's a build I enjoy. The idea is you'll look and you'll go, but wait a second, you have almost no negatives. Well, right, I started as weak, obese, and unfit, and we have, quote-unquote, fixed most of our negatives. I also had slow healer, but we'll be stuck with that forever. I think we have a slight change of plans, because it will get dark soon. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the warehouse. We're going to load up a bunch of weapons into this truck. Gotcha. Just so you know, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that short-sighted penalizes foraging, like the distance you can detect things. So just be aware. I think they said you can correct it with glasses. I can't remember. But just something to be aware of. If you're like, hey, the new foraging system sucks, that does penalize the new foraging system. So next patch the glasses will fix it. Gotcha, and on that note, well, I've got people here, because this is one of the things I would bring up a lot of times introducing people to the game. So I told everyone about how, like, oh, you can just totally just, as long as you don't put in a bottle, you can drink from rivers and streams and lakes. While that is true right now, the upcoming patch was going to make that no longer safe. So if you are someone who makes it a regular habit of drinking from lakes and rivers and all that when you're in a pinch, just know that that option is going away. That will get you sick, similar to drinking any other contaminated water. Yeah, there's also a bunch of other things that affect the foraging system, like if you're tired, it affects the your ability. If you're, I think it's if you're exerted, if you're tired, if you're wearing a helmet, if you're wearing shades, if it's foggy, if it's rainy, if it's nighttime, all of that stuff affects your ability to forage. Short-sighted. Give me a moment to catch up with chat. But the fish poop adds extra flavor. I missed the context to that. Yeah. Oh, now they nerf water too? Yeah, I mean, to be fair, like, being able to just right-click drink from the lake, I always felt that was a very, like, it almost felt like you were totally bypassing the water mechanic in the game. Because honestly, the only thing that means you have to do is you make a campfire, you need matches or a lighter, or you can just chop down a tree and make whatever it's called, the drill plank or whatever it is, which is the thing you use to make fire. And then anything you can carry water in, and you can get water that way. Is it as easy as just drinking from the thing? No. But it's not bad. Like, especially if you get a cooking pot early on, that's really good. Pretty easy to deal with. Andy NQ says, I am playing at 8 times Z's and spawn in the gated community at Riverside. Should I make it my base and push the gas station to the far western town, or should I just change to another location, which is a bit easier? Generally speaking, and this is me playing on 16x pop, so it's a bit worse, I will loot whatever building I start in when I do my run, and then as soon as I'm spotted, I leave town. Find like a farmhouse or like one of the boot camps, someplace that's going to be pretty low zombie pop, and give me at least a little bit of food, a little bit of water, a couple of weapons. So I'll go down there, and then I'll turn around and start pushing my way into town. And the reason I say that is I can't speak for 8 pop zombies, but with 16 pop zombies, the sheer number of zombies I'm fighting means I will run out of weapons quite a few times trying to push my way through town. And in a pinch, that's going to get you killed just because you'll run out of weapons and have like 30 zombies on you going, well, I can't beat this by pushing them over and stepping on them. So it's very difficult. Now 8x, maybe that's manageable. But I would be concerned about the fact that you just effectively run out of weapons unless you manage to get lucky and find a place with some crowbars or something. Oh, got you. If you're already a bunch of days into it, yeah. If that's totally manageable, then sure. Like you can give it a try. Like worst case, it doesn't work out, and then okay, you just know in the future. All right, I'll have to deal with that. Oh, nice. Yeah, I feel like that might be a an exception then, like where RNG was just like, hey, Rhino, here you go. This is a winning hand. Like, the game does that sometimes. Like, I've definitely had times where the game's just like, would you like a large backpack right away in the get-go? Here you are. How about a car that's in good order with keys and gas? You want one of those? Sure. And you're like, alright game, what are you gonna do? Like, you're doing all this nice stuff. What is the, you know, equal and opposite reaction you're going to do to me with this? Like, you're giving me all this free stuff. You're gonna do something awful, aren't you? Like, you're gonna be like a day to turn off my water and power or something. Like, what is the catch? Nothing is free. I mean, it's a single player game, so there's no such thing as cheating. Like, my rule with this game, and pretty much any game for that matter, is are you having fun? If the answer is yes, then congratulations, you're playing the game correctly. If that means you're doing something that someone objectively say is that's unbalanced, unfair, whatever, doesn't matter. If you're having fun and you're playing a single player game, it's no one's business. Oh, we got ourselves a God Fork. Garden hoe, always a good time. And you will notice my light source I'm using right now, I just have the van's headlights pointing out it. How am I lighting up the inside of the place without having the doors open? That is an excellent question. I don't have an answer for it, but it is an excellent question. And this is the reason I like having a secondary bag as like a loot bag. Because then I don't have to think about, hey, my loot stuff. It's just walk up to the trunk, hit transfer, congratulations, we're good to go. Oh, and I have a second generator in there, which is why this is so full. That's destined to go to the Riverside gas station. That way, after I clear the area enough, I just have a place to top off gas there without having to go through a big hassle. I mean, to be fair, that probably should be fixed. Like, if I open a door or something, yeah, sure. But like where I can just pull my van up to the wall. You know that? Plaster is worth taking if you want to, like, play cursed Sims, as a lot of people like to put it. Which is where you start, like, doing all the fancy stuff in your base and all that. Because what I can do is I can take my wood walls and I can make them pretty. Is it meaningful? No. I need a paintbrush, that's right. Did you say hat lamp? I'm not aware of there being a hat lamp in the game. It sounds like an item that probably should exist in the game, though. Yeah, it sounds like something Authentic Z would do. Authentic Z is a fantastic mod, but no, I don't have it. And this is the stuff that makes Death Trait very upsetting, because I would not have heard that zombie until it jump scared us. But I don't have Death Trait, so we did hear it. And thank you for the follow, Proxy321. Welcome to the stream. You also... Yeah, you also need a bulb. That makes sense. Gotcha. Andy NQ says, currently the gated community, I found 4 crowbars and a bunch of weapons. I think I can stand my ground and push the southern road. I'm way there. I have to make a scout with my car and have a gas station in Riverside. There are so many Z's there and I could not sneak in if though. Yeah, no. I've said this a number of times. This is, again, talking about 16x pop. Generally speaking, I won't try and drive through the cities on 16x pop. I will gradually clear. Because trying to drive through the cities on this level of population, you just get gummed down by the sheer number of zombies and then killed because, you know, your car gets busted up in the process. Well, we've got no shortage of plaster now. There's a wood axe. That'll be nice for dealing with trees in the future. Oh yeah, the trailer park is a pretty good place to go. I actually find the trailer parks in almost all of Project Zomboid to be like pretty good. It's like getting a whole bunch of little houses that not one of them has like anything like, you know, if you're looking for food, they do pretty well. You're looking for tools, they do all right. You're looking for literature, they do okay. Like, they give you a little bit of everything, but unlike the big houses, which can have a little bit more loot in them, they end up having so much more effort to get through them. Versus a trailer, you hop in, you check the first room, you check the second room, and you suddenly have all the stuff in there. I am taking our bounty of weapons back, as well as our plaster. I think that's fine. Yeah, I didn't think so, because I feel like a helmet like that, Pinky the Demon, if it did have a light, everyone would be rocking one as fast as they could get their hands on it. Not unless it's like super duper rare and impossible to find. But part of the reason I am doing this is I am kind of getting a little bit to the tired side. I streamed way too late last night on RimWorld. So I'm playing a little bit safer at the moment. But figured I'd collect all the weapons we could so that way we have a whole bunch. You know, a whole bunch of weapons that we have it all handy for when we go to push more. It also means I got all these bags of plaster and the paintbrush I've been missing forever. Because with that, what I can actually do is I can make my walls look pretty. And paint them up, make them look nice, and play some cursed Sims. You know, and I usually do that when it's like, oh, tomorrow's going to be very foggy. It's like, alright, you know what we're not doing tomorrow if it's going to be very foggy? Anything dangerous. So usually those days I'll work on like carpentry or mechanic or tailoring or, you know, I'll pretty up the base or whatever. Make our home nicer. I could certainly go with electrical skill being able to give us some types of improvised light, like a helmet light or a gun light or stuff like that. I will say, one thing that annoys me that I wish wasn't the case is radios in the range of a generator. I should be able to plug in the radio and not have to use individual batteries in the radio. Not because I actually care about batteries. I usually have more than I could ever possibly need. But, you know, it's just, why do I have to do it? Like, radios plugged in the 1990s. I can verify this. 100% with radios that plugged in the 1990s. Why must I have batteries? Well, I mean, I find in Project Zomboid, like, it's nice to do a mix of playstyle, where you have, like, sometimes you go hard, you fight hard, you do all that stuff, and there's some days like, nah, today's a Cursed Sims day, where we build our base, we paint it, we make it pretty, we hang up some paintings, we hang up our doctorates, because, you know, it's important, you should recognize your successes. Yeah, I am not the one who came up with Cursed Sims. I was always calling it Sims with Zombies. And sounds like Cursed Sims, I'm like, okay, I like that. Yeah. I haven't done the whole looking for super nice things many times. But like there is certain stuff that is very useful that I'm like, I would like that. I do know in one of our previous attempts we were pulling up floors and doing all that kind of stuff, and I probably will do that at some point this time. Like when we just don't see zombies around Ekron at all anymore, and we have one of those days that we just, you know, it's rainy, it's crappy, or we've just been going hard and you're like, you know, this is a take a break day. One of those days we'll go around, we'll start like tearing up floors and going, okay, here's the floor we're going to use for a main room, here's what we're going to use for our kitchen, and all that. Because I do think I'll keep expanding the base. Like I said, until we reach West Point, Ekron will be our main base. And what will probably happen is we'll still have the Ekron base around and functional when we move to West Point. But I'll make like a proper forward base in eastern West Point. Oh, Ekron, I'm living at the gas station. Like, not the gas station itself. I built a building along the lake. But I like that spot because it gives me access to gas, and it's close enough to a body of water, so if it doesn't rain, I'm also square. And then I also like for these runs, I very much love doing it just because Ekron's center map, so it's convenient for all of the cities except like anything past West Point. Yeah, I'm going all the way back to Ekron. I wasn't going to originally, but I am getting that kind of low energy thing because I streamed to like 6 a.m. yesterday. I mean, I guess technically today. So I'm going to head back to Ekron, wrap up a couple things. At that point, we'll probably find someone to raid after that. So if you want to hang around for that. But we did just pull an incredible arsenal of weapons out of the warehouse, as you always do every time you go to the warehouse. Oh yeah, that's the thing, like, Ekron is the only place anywhere near center map that you can find both gas and water. There are stuff along the sides of center map, but it's the only place. Which is a shame, because it means if you're doing these kinds of runs, unless you deliberately want to make it harder on yourself, it's like is like objectively the most logical place to put a base for these type of runs if you're going to have a permanent base. Otherwise you want to live more nomadic, smaller forward bases, at which point you'll put them wherever you're clearing. Your brakes are terrible. Why are your brakes so terrible? Yes. We were testing to see if the industrial fridge and like the regular home fridge had any difference, because the belief was that the home fridge had a lower power use despite the fact that they have the exact same capacity. But when we tested, they had the same capacity and use, so we're like, alright, well, we'll just not worry about that. Okay. Yeah, the snow shovel, once you get a couple points, and long blunt actually is a pretty reasonable weapon. Now, before you get those points, like low-level snow shovel is a bad time. But once you get some long blunt skill, it actually does pretty good. I mean, at these pops, I'm going to use both, because I'm going to break them both, and then I'll need the other one when it's broken. Oh, katana bed. You always make me feel at home. Yes, they just go really, really, really slowly to the point I don't bother. And I turn around because I only want... Yeah, I want to keep one wrench behind. But yeah, we actually did get one harvest of the... There's 2 strawberry plants that we still had from that. So like you see, I still have it. But like I have to water them all manually because it almost never rains. So I don't want to, so I don't bother, and then they die. We got plenty of hammers now. Alright, that, oh no, I'm gonna need our cabinet. Guns, you might be moving over one. So hang on, Guns. Oh, I forgot you were there. Didn't I put the motorcycle helmet? I don't care anymore. There's been motorcycle helmets I feel like they keep disappearing, and I don't know why, but I actually don't really care why, so I guess it doesn't matter. Yeah, so the 2 strategies for winter is one, I mean, basically, big of the follow, Angry Smoker, welcome to the stream. So most people for winter will stock up on a ridiculous amount of food, or as much as they can, between freezers and the non-perishables, and just basically eat that food to last through the winter. Your other option is just to live nomadically, go house to house, and keep doing stuff. Like keep looting the houses and eating from house to house kind of thing. I prefer stocking up freezers with produce and mostly surviving on that. Yeah, the only downside with that combo you're talking about is just you end up super sweaty. And so I place stuff on top of each cabinet so I can know what's where. So I know the one with the shotgun sitting on top of it's my gun cabinet. All these are weapons that go on my sides. That's weapons that go on my back. Electrical, tailoring, medicine. I can't really see the rest. Like one of them's like plaster and all that. Yep, and that's with keeping in mind a lot of days that we just don't kill any zombies at all. Like today, I think we only killed 1 zombie? No, it's like 5 zombies. Like one or 2 along the road. We had one that was actually in the building, and there's like 1 or 2 random ones here and there. Hey, Rachelkin, how's it going? I'm not doing another trip. Grab the regular tire, because this can't use a regular tire, so we're taking it out. Okay, so this is on the north end of Akron. I'll actually show you where it's at on the map here in just a second. Let me just drop this tire, because I've died to tires before. So, bad experiences. So anyone wondering where Ekron is, because I've mentioned a couple times? If you look at your map, so this is Riverside up here. This is Rosewood down here. The road that goes directly between them, if you follow it, there's a little city right here called Ekron. And so my main base is the gas station in the far north end, just because you have gas, you have fresh water. Well, you have water that you can use. So, cool. No, the low weight is because I was eating produce, because I had tons and tons of produce that was, you know, my perishable food. And non-perishable was the only stuff I had to maintain weight. So it was like trying to really avoid dipping into my non-perishables. And so finally when I got to 65 kilograms, like, all right, fine, I'll eat my cereal and my oats and all that other stuff I've stockpiled. Oh yeah, the rural supply store is fantastic, and then you also have a tool store that's fantastic, and you also have a bookstore that's fantastic. You also have a police department, which is good too, and a grocery store. Like, it's got everything. So cool, I have all of that there. Yeah, Pinky Demon, because unfortunately during the winter, you can't really fish, you can't really trap meaningfully, you can't really farm. So you're kind of just surviving at what you have. And so unfortunately that's just caused me to eat just the stuff we had in the freezer. Oh no, I'm not. You're not supposed to be full too. Tent kit. We're just gonna move you over here. Okay. Skipping this track. Like that's a weird song because it's like the person just like kind of whispering sweet nothings or whatever. Like, yeah, think about them going to the river. Like, please just stop. I'm here for music. Don't make it weird, man. It doesn't have to be weird. Can we not make it weird? I like what's not weird. Alright, so we got a nightstick, we got tons of knives. Okay, grab the god fork to bring with us. And my schedule last night. You know what my character's earned though? That's been a while. Dr. Ellen Ennis has earned a bath. Because nothing says you need a bath like 24,000 zombie kills. I mean, other than like 25,000 zombie kills, that also does make you feel like you need a bath. But still. And she's been wearing the same clothes for probably 18,000 of them. Give or take. I think the firefighter helmet was a late addition. Oh no. No soap. We'd have to loot that. I'm having this sudden dreading feeling that today's going to be the helicopter day and it's going to be full of regret. Soap is for washing cars. Don't helicopter me. Don't do it. I know what you're thinking, radio. Don't helicopter. Helicopter's right out. Gonna eat my veggie salad, and you're not gonna ruin my day. This is a woman with 11 katanas in her bed. She doesn't need your helicopter crap. Okay, cool, no helicopter. And, for the record, when I say she has a doctorate, I'm not joking. Here's our doctorate in surgery. And there's our doctorate, degree in just being a doctor. For most people, that takes 8 years of residency and a whole lot of work. And for our good friend here, Dr. Ellen Ennis, it took an afternoon visiting the local pharmacy with a crowbar.